Hey guys, what is going on? Tomorrow it is the big announcement of the Lions squad. I'm going to make a reaction video to that. So I wanted to get Super Rugby round 13 tips, predictions, and squad analysis done tonight. My goodness, this is a pretty important round. It's going to be unlucky 13 for a couple of teams. I'll tell you why. Those top six places are getting very competitive. I'm looking at the Waratahs. I'm looking at the Force as teams that could slip out of contention completely. But hey, Crusaders Chiefs, that is going to be, oh my God, the blockbuster of the weekend. So let's jump right in here, guys. I'm pretty amped to talk about this. First up, the Drua versus the Blues. Now, this is being played in Suva, not a daytime game as far as I know, an evening game. That's going to make it a little bit easier for the Blues, although there's no such thing as an easy assignment playing in Suva or Lautoka. I mean, these boys are a different team at home. Not a great touring team, the Drua, but very good at home. I think a lot of people would have them as warm favorites, even against a resurgent Blues. One thing does make me sound a note of caution, and that is a name missing here. Wonga, 6. Man, I mean, he has been an absolute gun this season. He was so destructive last week. Rangy, long legs, limbs flailing, running around like a headless chicken, getting offloads away. Just sensational form. He's not there in the listed team, so that does hurt the home team just a wee bit. Otherwise, a lot of pretty familiar faces there. Interestingly, Armstrong Ravua, who has been starting, has been playing 10, has been playing 15. Now he's on the bench. Interesting one there. Still not the most settled team in terms of their playmakers. Unlike the Auckland Blues, baby, Beauden Barrett is back in some GOAT-level form. I mean, not to hype him up too much, but seriously, think about how this team was tracking when he was out injured, and look at them now. Yes, still a lot of rough edges, still pervious at the breakdown. But my goodness, they are a different team with Barrett running the show. Not that surprising for a guy who won World Rugby Player of the Year 2 years in a row. Up front, we're starting to see that pick and go really pay dividends. I'm a big fan of Ricky Riccatelli. He's got to start the rest of the season. He just has that low body height. He's compact. He's mobile. He is an important figure in the engine room. Renata has been good. At 3, you got Tuipulotu in there. So the big stars are here. Satutu and Papali'i are really working their way into good form. What does harm the Blues a little bit, even though he hasn't been in top form this year when he's been playing, but Stephen Perifetta, he does provide a nice point of difference to Beauden Barrett. I like Barrett starting at 10, Perifetta at 15. You get that 1-2 punch, playmaker punch, right? Or if Barrett's sucked into a ruck, okay, Perifetta comes to the fore. He's the first up playmaker. So that's a little bit of a loss, having Perifetta out. But you do have Plummer there on the bench, so you'll see him come on and play some important minutes. Look for Plummer to have maybe a significant role here. I don't think they're going to pull Barrett too early, but I think at some point in this game, you're going to see that dual playmaker strategy coming in. It's just hard to go against the Drua at home. What do you guys think? Think they'll get that Blues scalp? Blues need a win because Moana Pacifica is ready to hunt them down. Moving on to the poor Waratahs. Man, they started this season with a hiss and a roar. Whew, it's been a rough few weeks. Plenty of talent in there. Angus Bell's great. Langy Gleeson. Rob Leota. Now, Edmund is back at 10. So that's handy. Good little combination there with Jake Gordon. We know about the firepower of Suali'i in concert with Andrew Callaway. So why do I have a little bit of caution in my voice? It's because they're playing these guys, the Reds, kind of the worst team they could possibly play right now, I think. I mean, these guys historically are just their Achilles heel. You have seasons where the Waratahs are fantastic and the Reds get the wooden spoon, but the Reds will still beat them. They just have a vice grip on them. Now, interestingly, you look at the front row of the Reds, they still do not have those former All Blacks out there starting, which is interesting to me. Yes, Jeffrey Tumunga Allen is on the bench, I'd probably be starting him, but hey, I'm not the coach. I'm just a rugby YouTuber having fun in my man cave. So what do I know? The other thing that, I just find interesting about the Reds, which is a team that was leading this competition at the midway point, still a little unsettled in the halves. Tate McDermott, the captain, clearly he's the man at 9. But you bring Tom Liner in now. Sometimes this guy's on the bench. Sometimes he starts. Just not quite the consistency in that 9-10 axis that you're seeing in other teams. And I just think that may come back to bite them. That lack of selection consistency. I think that could come back to bite them down the stretch. Jock Campbell's been great at fullback, and you've got Daugunu at 13. He is a nice one to have returning, super talented. Man, I just don't think I can really go against the Reds. I know the Tars need a win, probably more than the Reds need a win, but man, got to go with Queensland here. All right, guys, I'm a little bit excited about this one. I will definitely be watching this game, even though it's at midnight Los Angeles time, but that's okay. Well, Tamati Williams is in. Fletcher Newell, Cody Taylor, all black front row. Not too surprising there. They need the big guns for this because this is a 1v2 fixture. Whoever wins this is going to be the top dog. I like that Tom Christie's playing. No Ethan Black out of here, but I think Christie is very strong at the breakdown, and that's going to be important because you're going up against Luke Jacobson, who's been a turnover machine. You're going up against a superstar who's returning to the starting lineup for the Chiefs. We'll get to that team in 1 second, but hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest return of the year is happening. Talk about the Chiefs in a second. Now, what's destabilized this team, obviously, is the loss of Taha Kemara. Very sad, fantastic young player. Plays very well with Noah Hotham, the number 9 there. But they do have Revaz Rayana in there. They've had a week now to metabolize the loss of Kemara, re-strategize. So this guy's a good 10 too. Good kicking game, good long kicking game, good up and under kicking game. Interesting they didn't go for James O'Connor. I still think that's correct, though. I think he's so much better coming off the bench. You do have Braden Enor back there at 13. Levi Omua not even in the squad. And I kind of support that. I think that is a fair summary of the depth chart for the men from Canterbury. I think that Levi Omua, I would put him below Havili, Braden Enor, and Dallas McLeod. I think this is a pretty good-looking midfield. Sevu Reece and Chafiaki, just, firepower for days. Will Jordan, best fullback in the world, in my opinion. Fight me in the comments. So this is a hell of a good-looking team. But let's look at the Chiefs, everybody. Oh, my God. Wallace Sititi is back. He's back, y'all. This guy has freakish mutant healing powers. Originally, they were saying, he's not going to play Super Rugby. He might make it back for the All Blacks end of year tour. That's how conservative I heard some of the time frame assessments were from pundits. Well, he is back starting at 8 in round 13 of Super Rugby. That's a difference maker. Jacobson and Sititi, what a combo. The other name, of course, Damian McKenzie, missed a couple of rounds. How do you think the Chiefs looked without him? I don't think they looked very good. I'm a Chiefs guy. They're not historically my team, but I'm a believer in them this season. I think they can win this whole damn thing. Can they do it without McKenzie? I am just not convinced about that. The Hurricanes put a beating on them last week at Sky Stadium. Now, the Hurricanes were in some kind of mood. I think they might have got the W even if McKenzie was playing, but boy, that sure did doom them not having D-Mac out there. He is the talisman for this team. So just seeing Sititi McKenzie out there, oh boy, that gets the mouth watering. Looking at the backs, a stacked back line from 11 to 15. Leroy Carter has been brilliant. He's got that sevens dynamism. He's translating that to the 15-a-side version of the game, playing brilliantly. Tupaia, I think is playing his way back into All Blacks contention. Rona's been solid. Narawa, former All Black, along with Stevenson, who has been capped as an All Black. They're playing like they want to be back in the black jersey. So what do you guys think? This is a really tough one to predict. I sort of think that I like the look of this Chiefs team. The Christchurch factor is a big one for me, though. That's a big one. So I do think this will be a tight game, but you might just have to give the edge to the Canterbury boys. Now, this is a really important fixture here, Force versus Brumbies. Brumbies really need a win here because that would actually leapfrog them into second place. They would be in a very handy position. Force are in danger of dropping out completely. It is being played over in Perth, and I'm just going to come out of the gates right here. I think the Brumbies are going to get the job done. Now, they've been weak against the Force whenever they go over to the stadium over there. Optus, I think it is, in Perth. They haven't traveled well. Even though generally you think the Brumbies have a better squad than the Force and a bit more depth, they choke a little bit over there. I think they'll reverse it this time. I mean, I like the look of this Force team. Donaldson's been there at 10. He's been very consistent. Curtly Beale actually made a good fist of his return against the Blues last week. He hasn't played at rugby at this level for 10 months. But he slotted in there well. And Harry Potter is a magic man. Like his namesake, Harry Potter. He's very good at 14. And Nick White provides plenty off the bench. But every time I look at this goddamn Brumbies team every week, and I think that it must be last week's team because it's so consistent. Slipper, Alatoa, easy for me to say. Hooper, Ryan Lonergan, Lolesio, Corey Toole, Len Ikitau, Tom Wright. Man, it's just rinse and repeat. But they're fired up. They need this one. Let's go Brumbies. You know, they deserve to be up there. I think that they're sharpening their game. They're tapering it. They really should be the top of the heap for the Aussie teams based on this lineup here. They need that win. They need that win in Perth. And I'll tell you what, number 2 would be a nice little spot for them. So I'm kind of thinking of the Aussie teams that the Reds and the Brumbies should pull away. I worry for the Force. I worry for the Waratahs. And then as for 1v2, man, just sound off in the comments. Who do you think? Chiefs versus Crusaders. That's a doozy. Let me know who you think's going to win. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll be back to take a look at the Lions squad tomorrow. That's very exciting. Wallabies v Lions coming up. Can't wait. It's going to be one of the big events of the year on the rugby calendar, along with the All Blacks versus the Springboks at Eden Park, which I'm already counting down the days to. So, guys, I'll see you for another one real soon. Take it easy. Bye for now.